Hi, this is Leo. In this video, we will talk about part library, which is also the second chapter of the Solid Modeling Advanced. In this video, I will show you the general workflow to create part library. And also, I will show you some detailed functionalities of Equation Manager and part config. Now let's get started. Okay, first, I will show you the general workflow to create part library. Step 1. We need to predefine the necessary variables or expressions. The variables and expressions will drive the model sizes later. Step 2. We need to build the parametric model, and the main dimensions are linked to the variables or expressions. Step 3. We need to create part config. In the part config table, we can choose the variables and make more configurations based on different value. And the last step, we can publish the part to the library. Then we are able to insert it in the reuse library. Now let's move over to ZW3D to learn more details. Okay, now we will use a simple case to show you the general workflow of creating part library. Okay, now we create a new part and I'll give it a name, a none. Okay. And for creating part library, first we need to predefine the variables in the equation manager. For example, here we create some necessary variables for the nut. For example, the size 4 and the length 1.2 and the angle. For the angle, we need to change the type to angle. Okay, angle A, and we give it 30 degree. Okay, and the pitch size, we give it name P 0.4, and the diameter of the hole D 52. Okay, now we can apply and click OK. Now you can see all the expressions are in the expression folder. And then next, we need to create the parametric model. Okay, now we create the outline of the nut. Sketch, polygon, and we give it dimension. And here for the dimension, we can link to the variables we just created. We link it to the S. Okay, now you can see it's 4, and there is a little icon here. Okay, we exit the sketch, and then we extrude it. And how long will we extrude it? We can link to another expression, which is L. Okay, now it's good. We can show the dimension to see if it's correct. 0.2. Okay. And then next, we will create the hole command, and here we use threaded hole. Okay, location, and here we use simple hole shape. And for the type, we make it custom so that we can link all the parameters to the variables. Okay, first is the diameter. Okay, we link it to D, and for pitch, we link it to P. And for the diameter, we link it to D as well. And for the depth, we link it to L. Okay, now we can click OK to get the result. Okay, this is the result. And maybe there are some more details about the nut, but we will just ignore it and continue to save you more time. And the next step is to create different part configs. Here we use config table. Okay, here we can show all the expressions here. Then we can create configs based on them. We can select the configs we want to add. Okay, we add this 4, and then we can create more part config in the config table. There is two ways. First way is we can just copy more and we change the parameters. For example, 5, 6, 5.2, and 3. Okay, this is the first method. And another method is we can use the Excel to help us more quickly. For example, you can export the current data and add more data in Excel, then import again. Okay, but here is another quicker way. You can just edit in Excel. Okay, now you can see a temporary Excel. You can add more configs. Okay, and change the parameters. And here is a little tip. Actually, you can add more config in one cell. For example, here we can make 3, 4, 5. And after we click OK and save it, now you can see there will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There will be 7 part config. Okay, now let's verify it. Okay, now 7. Okay. Okay, now we can click apply. And then we can verify the part configs here. Verify. Now you can see all success. You can check the preview here. Okay, and there is no problem. We click OK and we click OK again. Okay, now you can see there are 7 part configs. You can switch them in the part config folder. Okay, now we keep it default. Okay, now we are ready to publish the part. Here we use the library publisher command. Okay, now let's see how to use it. The first is object to publish. Here you do not need to change it. We just keep it by default. And the other one is date involved to publish. First is legend. You can choose an external image as a legend, or you can just keep it by default. It will be the thumbnail of the part. Okay. And the next is important. There are two ways to publish. Data from part configs, which means you will publish the part based on the 7 configs we created just now. Or you can use another way, data from Excel. But we do not create Excel, right? Don't worry, if we click on it, there will be a message. It will generate a new Excel for us. We click yes. Okay, now you can see there will be a new Excel file. And then we can add it in Excel. Okay, here we can add more in it. Okay, we save it. Okay. And in the lower area is the parameter settings. Here you can see in the right is the available parameters. And in the right is the parameters you want to publish. For example, we can remove the page parameter back. Then it will be not published. Okay. And here you can see there is a style column. What's the meaning of that? And here you can see there is 2 types of the parameter. The first one is key parameter. The second one is custom parameter. So basically seeing the difference is, so for the key parameters, which means after publish, when you inserting the standard part, you can only select the predefined values from the drop-down list, which is from the Excel or from the current configuration. But for custom parameters, you can manually input the values when inserting the standard parts. Here we can use the D as the customer parameter. Okay, and the other we make it key parameters. Okay. And the next you can see the publish path. Here we can choose the path. Here we can choose the path we just created, ZW soft folder. Okay. Now we can apply. Okay, now let's see how to find it and insert it. Okay, we create a new file. Okay, here we still need to enter the file browser. Okay, and here you can see under the ZW subfolder there is the nut part. Okay, now we can insert it. We just double click, then we can insert it. And here you can see these two are the key parameters, which means we can only select values from drop-down list. Okay, and for the D, which is custom parameter, which means we can manually type the value by ourselves. For example, we can change it to 3. Okay, now we can click OK to insert. Select a location. Now you can see the insert is succeed. Okay, this is the general workflow of creating a part library. Okay, next I will show you more detailed features about Equation Manager. At the very first place, I would like to show you the main elements inside Equation Manager. As you can see in the first screenshot, there are 4 parts inside. The first one is filter, and the second one is equation list, and the third part is equation creation panel, and the last part is Excel related commands. Of course, the most important part is creating equations. ZW3D provides many types to do it. Like here, you can see we can create number, string, point, and even vector. And there are more subtypes like constant, length, angle, mass, density, and etc. And also, you can see we can create functions inside ZW3D, like ceiling, round, and also some other functions. Okay. And next, I would like to show you how to write a conditional expression. Here is a typical case. We have a variable A and a variable B. Variable B is depend on the value of variable A. So when A is less than or equal to 50, then B equals 6. And when A bigger than 50 but less than 100, then B equals 8. Otherwise, when A greater than or equal to 100, B equals to 10. In this condition, the expression will be as below. And please notice that the exclamation mark means not. And the next is about functions. In ZW3D, there are about 35 functions, which can cover most scenarios. Here is just a little sample. It's a round function. Like when you input a value which is bigger than 10.5, it will be 11 after rounding. Okay. And the next is about the value range. We can predefine the value range for variables, and after publishment, when you reuse it or insert it again, you can only input a value no more than and no less than the max and the minimum value. Otherwise, there will be error message. Okay, now let's move over to ZW3D to learn more details. First, let me show you the main elements of the Equation Manager. On the top left is the filter. You can choose the items you want to display. And on the top right is the Excel related features. You can link to an Excel file, or you can export and import Excel. And also, I recommend you to edit equation in Excel. For example, you can add more, like I add a D, and after I click save, it will be in the equation list. Okay. And on the lower area is the equation list. All the existing equation will listed here. Okay. And on the lower area is the creation panel, which is also one of the most important part. Here we can input many variables. First, we can see the types. We have 4 types in ZW3D: number, string, point, and also vector. Okay, so basically we use the number at most. And for number, we have different subtypes. For example, you can make it a constant with no unit, or length, angle, mass with different unites. Okay. And the ZW3D support functions. And here you can see there are like 35 functions in ZW3D. Here I'll use a simple case to show you. Okay, first we create a new variable like E, and we keep it 100 point. Okay, and then we create a new variable which is F, and the expressions will be the rounding value of E. Okay, Fx and round, and we input E. Okay, and click OK. And then you can see the F will be the E after rounding. Okay, 101. Okay, apply. Okay, this is the usage of functions. Okay, and next I will show you how to create conditional statement. For example, here we have a variable which is G. Okay, and the G is linked to the A. Okay, so basically saying when A is less than 50, then G will be 6. When A is greater than 50 and less than 100, G will be 8. And otherwise, G will be 10. Okay. Now let's see how to write the expressions. Okay. Please pay attention. A 50, then 6. Else A less than 100, then 8. Else 10. Okay, we click OK to check. Now you can see it's correct. Okay, so we can try to change it, like we change A to 60, and then you can see G is changed as well. And we change it to greater than 100, like 120. Okay, now I can see that G is changed to 10. Okay, so please pay attention to the expressions. Okay. Okay, next I will show you more details about part config. So first, let's see the main elements of config table. There are filters in the top left corner, and the items you need to config is in the lower area. There are 3 types: part attribute, expressions, and the modeling history. You can make part config based on them. And in the right area is the config list. All the existing configs can be found here. And in the lower area, there are some Excel-related commands. Okay. And for parameters, there are 2 types: key parameter and customer parameter. So you may wonder what's the difference. Let me explain. So generally saying, custom parameter is more suitable for the dimensions which are not so severely restricted. But for key parameters, they are restricted and cannot be changed randomly. Okay, now let's move over to ZW3D to show you more details about part config functionalities. Okay, here we are. So first, I will introduce you the main elements of the config table. Okay, on the right area, you can see a filter. It's easy to understand, right? Okay, and on the lower area is one of the most important part. It's about items we can config. So the first one is standard attribute. For example, you can add the color and then change the color for different part config. Okay, now can verify the result. We change to default 1. You can see not only the size is changed, the color is changed as well. Okay. And also there are other attributes you can add to the config, like the designer, cost, supplier material, and etc. Okay. And on the lower area, we have said it before, it's about all the expressions. Okay, you can choose it to add or not add. Okay. And on the lower area is the history. So which means you can configure the history as well. You can just check it and then you can choose it to suppress or not. For example, we can suppress the whole for the last config. Okay, we apply to see the result. Okay, you can see for the last config, the whole will be suppressed. Okay. We remove it. And besides that, and actually we can configure the size of the feature. We can configure the start and extrude distance. Okay. This is L, and for this one we can make it like 2. Okay. Okay. Now let's see. Now you can see the end is 2 instead of L. Okay. Okay, we remove it. Okay, this is about the items to config. And in the right area, you can see this is the config list here. Here you can create a new config or copy config, or you can delete the config you do not want. And another important part is about the key parameter and the customer parameter. Actually, we can do it in the config table instead of in the library publisher. Okay, we can just right click on the parameter and here you can see we can set it key or custom. Okay, for example, we make the S as key parameter, L also key, and the D we make it custom. Okay, now you can see the color will change. Okay. Okay, and as I said before, for the key parameters, we can only select the predefined values when we do resetting. But for custom parameters, we can manually input the values when inserting the standard part. That's the difference. Okay, and in the lower area is the Excel related features, which we have introduced you in the equation manager. Okay. Okay, this is all about the config table. Hope you enjoyed the video. Bye bye.